I want to make the Asian market a priority. Asia in general is more optimistic than the rest part of the world. If that triangle...
But Trustwallet made that easy at that point of time.
The first one is a metric.
Let's say Trustwallet is a superhero.
Trustwallet needs to be whoever is the wise guy behind the scene that helps them.
Hey guys, we are live at CoinFest Asia 2025 and here I am Jetso on behalf of CoinsCapture in collaboration with Block Intelligence, the development hub. And now we have a special guest over here. So I think the best way to make an introduction is to ask them to introduce themselves because I will be sometime missing out. So possibly it's the best to introduce yourselves.
Sure. Hi everyone, glad to be here. I'm Eowyn Chen. I'm the CEO of Trustwallet. And then for Trustwallet, we're the largest mobile self-custody on earth right now. For the past 3 years, we grew 5 times from $440 million to $200 million. And we have about active user market share over 30% globally. So most of our user base also happens to be developing country users. So, and we're very happy to be here and then share a bit more about our insights about the industry and then maybe have some fun. We were just talking about that earlier too.
Thank you so much for accepting my invite on the first place and being here because it's been, we are finding out founders and investors who can educate our audiences as well. So you are one of the best one to answer some of our questions related to that. So right now, let's start with about Trustwallet itself. And I wanted to know why self-custody is very important in general because right now there are lots of exchanges, tons of exchanges keeping funds secure. And is it always secure or what should a general investor do?
I think there were 2 parts. Is why is self-custody important? I would love to explain a little bit more, maybe history lessons or philosophical lessons behind our industry. And the second is how to do with the risk management aspects. With regard to self-custody, and then if people here are familiar with Bitcoin, I think one of the fundamental theses back in the days is what happened at that time when Bitcoin comes was 2008, and that was the financial crisis. The breakdown for why Bitcoin came into being is because of their distrust to the middleman. Like, why would the middleman be able to lose so much money and then get the taxpayer to bail them out? And then the general public just don't have any control over the whole thing. So one of the theses besides Bitcoin be a decentralized peer-to-peer payment, how to enable it is people need to own their own assets. And that's the foundation for being self-custody. Because only if you have your own money, then you cannot rely on a middleman. So the whole concept of self-custody, I think that's a very important values and the philosophical roots. And I often call it, if it's a US audience, I would say that's a Second Amendment rights. Just like in the US, people have guns.
Sure.
And then you don't use your guns every day, but you need it when you need to protect yourself. Just like people, a lot of the centralized exchanges or banks, etc., they can be trusted and they're convenient, but are they at all times? And are they always going to be reliable? It's going to be a question I think every people needs to decide on themselves. And self-custody is always an approach that people can take on to protect their own assets by their own control. And that's what blockchain enables people to do. And the wallet being a tool is basically a easy to use approach to help people to do self-custody management. And that's one of the core principles about why we do wallet is we just want people to be able to have confidence and the freedom to own in their own palm. And that was the initial ideas. As regard to how to do risk management, like how do I balance between the convenience and also the risk control between custody and self-custody? One principle I might suggest to everyone is you should thinking about diversification, both for your investment and your custody. And risk is by context. So if I'm moving, let's say I'm moving from the US to Dubai, then my highest risk is actually my physical risk. In those moments, I probably would not put most of my assets on the hardware wallet because I could have a higher risk due to lose my hardware wallet, hence losing my assets and access to it. So those will be the moments I might find centralized custody, the trusted ones, worth it. But then after I'm settled, my physical security environment, my own internet environment is a bit better, then I might reconsider how much of a percentage of my assets allocation to remain in centralized exchange or remain in my self-custody approach. So that's just one example that I suggest everyone to think smart about how to use diversification in risk management, in custody, in self-custody as well. So hopefully that helps. Yeah. If not, feel free to ask more.
Well said. This topic couldn't be more well explained other than you. So that should be good enough. Okay. Now we move on to the next question. So the next question is RW on-chain is massive. So the question is, why now? And how does this change who can access the global market?
So if I heard you correctly, you're talking about the whole RWA trends and then the online global access
and
that
why
crypto
now?
provides.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think why now is a very interesting question. I think there are several components. RWA fundamentally real-world assets is basically what crypto tokenomics always are thinking about, is how do we tokenize everything valuable and put them on chain, and then use blockchain as a way to bookkeeping them and be able to document them, exchange them, transact them, all those things. It happens in 2017, 2015, and why almost 10 years later it gets traction. I think both due to a concept needs time to get adoption. I think that's one thing. The second thing is also RWA right now on chain has a lot to do with TradFi, traditional financial assets moving on chain. And for traditional assets moving on chain, it needs the compliance regulatory environment to feel that the traditional institutions can do so. And this has a lot to do with the changing political environment at the end of 2024 and the beginning of 2025 due to the election and the presidency. And the US has a 180-degree turn with relates to the crypto policies, the encouragement of the innovations, the legislative moves. So that encourages a lot of the TradFi. I think they are always lurking on the side. They're looking at crypto and be like, there's so many opportunities there, but they're not to make any move due to the regulatory environment. And then they finally are making the trend. And it starts from first of all, is the BlackRock to move on-chain assets off-chain, right? Like with the ETF, Bitcoin ETF. And now they will be like, oh, you know what? The crypto and blockchain infra not only can help me to get 24/7 trading that traditional markets cannot, can also do global distributions that traditional market cannot. And might as well be an opportunity to see whether any of the valuable assets can get wider global adoption. So with the regulatory opening up and with the opening up understanding of crypto and the knowledge of it and the interest to leverage that for higher efficiency and the distribution channels. That's why RWA this year, I think, is having a initial year. I wouldn't say it's having adoption yet. I think it's having an initial year of experimentation to do what we just talked about.
Yeah, because the major players are coming inside and they're trying to do something. So it's still in a initial stage. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And then just quickly add, right? RWA is not new. The most important RWA is what? Stablecoin, right? It's bringing the US dollar on chain, and then it happens due to two reasons. The first one was the interest rate was so low, and then there was so much money printing during the COVID time in 2020. And then the second is the growing crypto market itself needs a better settlement and stable settlement. Hence, the stablecoin was invented to facilitate on-chain and crypto trading. And that's 5 years of time, right? So it's not just the RWA right now. They're already the biggest product market fit in crypto format is actually a RWA. But right now it's just beyond the US dollar. What other traditional assets we can bring on chain more?
So you talked about stablecoin. So that sparked up another question in my mind. So stablecoin is a hot topic now, right? So how does Trustwallet take stablecoin as a topic or overall ecosystem growth? Or even Japan, even right now, the latest news, they've introduced their own stablecoin with Japanese yen. So how is Trustwallet, looking at from the stablecoin perspective, and what's the overall growth and scenario which we are looking for with respect to it?
Yeah. That's a very interesting question. There are two parts. The first one is how do I see all the different up and coming stablecoin? The second is how do we build products around those stablecoin that can potentially be useful to users. First of all, on the stablecoin or the different countries' stablecoin, I think it fundamentally comes down to two reasons. The first one is a political reason. Why would a government be interested in that? And the second is who will want those stablecoin? I think for the US, why they are so pushing for the stablecoin legislation is because US government finally realized that stablecoin is one of the best way to spread US dollar into every single person's pocket. That's the traditional approach. People cannot have access to a lot of the USD assets. So what does it do? It helps US to continue to strengthen the hegemony of the dollars in the global financial markets. So that's why it's extremely beneficial to US. And they don't have to do it in CBDC, the government-backed stablecoin, because the private market is what the US is very good at doing, and they're already doing a good job. So no need for government to do so. And you're just mentioning about Japanese,
yeah.
Right? And then the Chinese are thinking about CBDC, and a lot of the other countries are thinking about stablecoin too. So one way that other countries are thinking about stablecoin is they basically want to have a more efficient digital versions of their fiat currencies that can help to get 10x of the efficiency, even if it's not a global market, just within their own market. I think that's pretty valid. And every country get their own approach to spread the market adoption for their own assets, even for efficiency, if it's 10x. The second part is, does every country get what US dollar has for demand outside of their own markets, right? Like to be able to do what US dollar wants to have with spreading across the world. I think it's going to be a question mark. It's going to be the country's own fiat currency strength, their demands, their foreign policies, all those stuffs. But that's beyond my pay grade. And then the second question is, so how about for normal people, right? Like, how do I benefit from this? I was just sharing earlier is that we were one of the first wallet to have stablecoin earn. And I've been talking about this concept for over a year. And the reason why I talked to my team is I think this is what our industry's technologies provided as the best alternative to savings accounts for normal people. Because all the DeFi protocols and right now relatively good risk control management, people can get really sustainable yield of 3 to 6% on US dollar. And it's much better than people's yield on their savings account, right? I'm from the US and my savings account is like less than 1%. You'll be like, why am I putting my money there? Not to mention for people that are outside of the US. First of all, I might want US dollar for hedging against my own fiat risk to begin with. Second, I can make more stable yield out of it. And I think it's going to be a great way to get adoption for normal people who usually look at crypto as a speculative gambling site. But no, it actually use technology to provide real benefits due to efficiency and capital efficiency utilization, and then be able to pass on some of those yield and benefits to people. And I think that's fantastic. More people need to know about it and try it and potentially use it as a better entryway point to understand our technology and what they can do as the next generation financial infrastructure.
Perfect.
And then correct your data. You got an 80 million from our team. It's actually going to be close to 100 million now, right? So I don't know how many days that you're getting, but it's without much marketing. I think it's organic adoption that once people realize it, they will adopt it. And that's good product growth. Another thing is that it's not affected by the market. I thought people with stablecoin would take the money out and then do trading.
Yeah.
But no, like it just constantly grow. So it does mean that maybe the group of people that do stablecoin earn and why they put money in stablecoin earn is very different from the active trader type.
Yeah, because my next question was about the stablecoin earn itself.
Yes.
And then you're answering it that it will be growing out to 100. I mean, it's already
I think it's already.
It's already.
I checked on the data, but the last time it was like very much approaching there.
Yeah, perfect. So how are you expecting the growth in the next, let's say short term for 2 years, or 2 to 5 years?
For the particular product?
Yes.
I think it depends on how my team can iterate the product better. Well, no pressure, guys. On the other side, I do think there's more education and awareness to be done. And we need to make the product experiences better and then make the awareness and adoption increase. And then we just need to wait for time, because for any kind of wealth management type of product, it's a compound effect done by time. I think once people have the patience and be able to wait for it, they get the best rewards out of it too.
True.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next question. Okay. The next question will be like, how do you ensure self-custody here doesn't compromise security or UX, user experience?
Self-custody, yes. I think it's a very good question. It's a very hard question. So self-custody and let's talk about self-custody and ease of use. I think this is the part where developers and technologists are making a lot of progress in our industry already. What I'm telling my team is, I think our industry will get rid of this problem statement that wallets UX is the blocker for mass adoption in a year. I think by the end of 2026, we will no longer struggle with these problems. Why? Because I think there are 3 major technological trends that are happening. They are making Web3 technology feels like Web2. And that's what we're also working towards. The first one is the key management. People having a hard time managing the 12-4 secret phrase. Then they want to have backup, they want to have recovery, but still remain self-custody. I think there are different kind of technologies. Of course, they might be in the scale of trade-off between how complete of a self-custody it is. But I think ultimately, the whole idea about giving people option and the freedom is giving people option that they can choose, be aware of it. So passkey can be one, smart contract wallet with passkey, and also MPC solutions. Those are all technologically, I think, are relatively mature, that the majority of the people can enjoy a better key management experiences as a balance between self-custody and ease of use. The second one is gas abstraction.
Correct.
So if you're trading in centralized exchanges, then you don't need to worry about gas, right? Like my assets can move from A to B without having a so-called native gas token out there. So we recently also, we first do it in EVMs, we're doing cross-chain now, is allowing people to, on EVM chains, they don't need ETH to pay for the transactions. So if people only have USDT, USDC, of course, we have our own token, TWT. Those are used as payment alternatives to pay for the gas if they don't have the native gas. And that's happened very frequently, especially, for example, Indian users. We find a lot of Indian users are heavy stablecoin users, probably for remittance purposes, right? I only have stablecoin. Why do I need another coin, right? Like that's so hard to move. And then now they don't need to worry about that. That's what we call flex gas. But fundamentally, it's basically the, in our industry called EIP 7702 as a gas abstraction for the wallets technology adapted to the product feature. The last thing, I think for Web2 US, for the easy to use, is called chain abstraction. So again, in centralized Web2 exchanges, then you will be like, I'm moving Ethereum to Bitcoin. I don't need to worry about, those are different chains. But then in real decentralized wallet perspective, cross-chain Ethereum BTC was a very difficult
That's a
question.
complete different scenario.
Yeah. So I think the chain abstractions are also a technology that we're developing and then building. Even before that, I think we were building lots of routes across chains right now. I do think we're probably one of the best cross-chain wallets right now out there, especially for non-EVMs. Between Trons, Ethereum, BTC, BNB, Solana, you can name it, like all the popular ones, we have it. Some of the users tell us that they find our product experiences for cross-chain so simple that they don't need to worry about the bridge concept. Right. I just want to get from A to B. Why do I need a middle routes? Right. So we're all trying to make this much more simplified and streamlined by building out what I describe as logistical routes. Just like Amazon, right? Like for e-commerce to develop, you need to build out your logistical network. Then you might use FedEx, you might use UPS, you might use anybody, but ultimately it's a connected web, a network. Same thing for cross-chain routes. So we have all those kind of connected routes behind the scene, but users only need to know, I want this to this, I don't need to worry about how they get there. And it's already happening, and then it's gonna even get better with the chain abstraction experiences. And all of this are happening in a year.
Yeah, I mean, the Web2 adoption, like the Web2 retail users coming to Web3, this is one of the essential one, the abstraction one. Why? Because I've been using Trustwallet since I entered the crypto, like way back. I mean, it's been almost, I think, since 2019 around, somewhere. It's way long back, 2019.
Started from the BSC, right? Maybe, yeah.
I mean, I've seen it as an individual, and then it being acquired by Binance.
Yeah.
So I've been seeing those journeys since a long time, right? Yeah. And I've always wondered, like, why not Trustwallet is offering any kind of social login auth or MPCs or something like that? Because every time I recommend Trustwallet to new users, because I said that, okay, even now, I mean, a week ago, a friend of mine from UK, he said that, hey, I'm entering the crypto space, like what wallet do you use, how to store the wallet? And you go to Trustwallet, you just download it and use it, because I've been using it since a long time. I've not faced any kind of issues or problems or anything like user experience issue or something like that. It's very simple. And even if at that point of time, a long time ago, tab browser was still the best feature I had, because initially you would have to go to the laptop, you sit at the MetaMask, you just connect your browser and then you interact with it. But Trustwallet made that easy at that point of time. It was way long back. And I told him, like, hey, you just do that and it will be easy. Don't keep your funds inside the centralized exchange, because it's not your fund unless it's in centralized wallet. You take it out in a decentralized wallet and then you're good to go. But that is one thing I've always mentioned, like why the phrase keys and everything. Why? Because there are some wallets who are offering MPC wallet structures and social wallet. So now you answered my question on when it's going to come.
It's going to come. I think we're trying to find our own take with MPC, because some of the social login solutions right now are half self-custody. So for us, we still want to leaning towards, that's a balance, right? I mentioned about it. We wanted to leaning towards a good ease of use, but leaning towards more of a self-custody area. So that's how we want to do slightly more different and be more cautious, because security is at the forefront of it. We want to hold on to as much of the self-custody nature as much as possible.
Right, true, because even some of the wallets, even when I am from the tech background, so whenever I go and check out the tech side of it, it always like it's stored in some different servers and everything. I'm like, okay, it's stored in server, then what about the server compromise?
Server security.
Server security is another thing. So what if those things are compromised and if the keys are accumulated by someone else, and how it's going to be, even though technically it sounds good, but how it's done in practicality. So I mean, I'm happy that you guys are taking those precautions prior in order to make it possible. It's just like how Samsung used to do with their mobile phones as well, like, or Apple used to do with their mobile phones, like while other mobile companies, or they just launch it, but they go put a lot of on research and everything, and then launch it slowly, even though if it's after 2 to 3 years. So possibly your approach is well on that line.
Yes, I think a lot of the familiar social logging experiences you see on dApps, they are most likely semi-self-custody or custody solutions. But the whole I can see why they do it, because the whole idea is to help users to do the dApp. Right. And I just want to get over with the complication of the on-chain wallet user experiences.
Correct.
And users might not always store the funds there anyway. So they can take a little bit more of the custody routes and optimize more for the user experiences and the speed of implementation. But by being a wallet product ourselves, then users' funds will stay with us longer than any of those dApps wallet. As a result, we need to take up more of a security and self-custody spectrum comparing to traditional, easier social logging MPC solutions.
So this is just for audience, right? Okay. So let's say most of my our audience, like if they enter the crypto as a new people. And what would you suggest them? Right now, there are different social login as well, wallets as well. So would you prefer at this point of time with all the techs around it, you know about it, right? So with the techs which are revolving around it, so what would you prefer? You still ask them to keep the 12 phrase mnemonics with them and private keys with them, or rather use social logins or something like that? What would you ask them?
I think when you recommend a product, you always want to know.
Not recommending a product, but actually in the terms of tech side.
Yes, I think it depends on the purpose, right? If someone is putting $10 in a wallet, I just want to play around, and then if you lose it, it has nothing to lose. It's totally fine anywhere, right? But then if you're saying that this is where I'm storing my funds, I'm going to put more money in there, then I might leaning towards you have more controls and then more sense of security of the context around it. So it really depends on the context for somebody's purposes and the funds over there. What will happen most likely is you always want to have a segregated wallet that you use it for storage purposes, and you might want to have a little bit more control. I think for hyper security people, I still think as long as you can manage it, secret phrase is safer because you have less exposures for security attack and vulnerability. But it requires the human itself to be a better manager. And then other than that, you have your cash wallet that you play around anywhere, right? And then you might have a burner wallet that you just like try on different things, and then you destroy it afterwards. But those are more advanced tech. But basically, the simple thing is you have one of the storage, one of the cash wallet that you play with. That would be an easier setup for normal people.
Perfect. That, guys, it's explained that you should keep 2 different wallets. So yeah. So let's let's move on to the final 2 to 3 questions, and then we'll wrap it out. So one thing. So about Trustwallet's vision. This is about Trustwallet's vision. So Trustwallet now serve 15 million plus monthly users. So what's the North Star now? North Star isn't like how do you see yourself ahead?
Yeah. There are 2 types of North Star. The first one is a metric. The second one is what are we building for? If it's metrics, that's easy. I think wallet to the industry is an important gateway for adoption. So I want the industry to grow to 1 billion. I want it to happen in the next 5 to 10 years. Of course, the entry point can be as easy to use is what we're working on. As I said, I think in a year or 2, this wouldn't be an issue. The second is our industry needs to have enough useful stuff to offer to people. And then as wallet, how do we surface them to people? And then that's a metrics number. If it comes down to the North Star of what drives us, like the vision, mission, what drives us to build, I've told the team that wallet in our industry, the most important role we have is to build relationship with the users. Everybody else can be the backend stack, right? Like chain is a infra stack. You get protocols that are probably feature stack. And they can have a lot of it, but wallet will always aim at serving the human users. I even imagine with the AI development, maybe at some point, the whole blockchain infra is built for AI to be able to do the actual work around behind the scene. Every feature can turn into an AI agent, and then a wallet, no matter if it's in an analog format, in a chat-based format, in an AI agent format, the mission doesn't change, which is to help the users to navigate around the future economy, that they can have the freedom to own, and they can always have the freedom to access opportunity to thrive. So we as wallet, we will just adapt to however the industry is evolving, being in AI infra or not. We will do it with our connection point with the backend, but we always wanted to represent the users, how to protect the users' interests, how to give them the most simple, human understandable way to know what's going on behind the scene.
Correct.
And then giving them the freedom and the options that they have in control, which I think is, from value perspective, our industry do fundamentally different from TradFi. And that needs to be the next generation of the digital economy principles. So that's the North Star, to build user focus, build user-focused product that help people to have the freedom to own and access opportunities in whatever economy format.
Well said, well said. Okay. So that is one fun question. So let's say Trustwallet is a superhero. What would the power be, and who would it be?
That's such a fun one that I need time to think. I can explain my thought process. I think a wallet, Trustwallet, needs to be a coach or a guide.
Okay.
So if it's a superhero, you cannot be one of the Marvel that is the underdog that grow to a hero itself, because that should be the users. Trustwallet needs to be whoever is the wise guy behind the scene that helps them to get there. So you help me out. Is there any superhero like that? It's more of a guide and a coach, not a heroine, but the facilitator.
Coach kind of thing. Is it? Even if I talk about Marvel, if I would be a coach, Nick Fury, or how is it?
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe. And he organizes all the Avengers inside it, so possibly he guides them.
Doctor Strange or something like that.
Kind of, yeah. That should be cool as well. Okay.
Well, yeah.
Then Doctor Strange, of course.
Maybe. Yeah.
Right. I mean, he's of course secured as well.
Yes. And also in the Marvel fights, I think he was the guy that kind of facilitates things, right? But
correct. He predicts the future as well.
Yeah. Yes.
Good then. Then I'll consider it Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the last question. If you could fix one pain point in crypto user experience forever, I mean, in the entire group, what would it be?
Fix one pain point in the user experiences.
Yes.
Forever.
I mean, it can be hypothetical, like it couldn't be existing for a long period of time, but yeah, hypothetical.
I think we talked about it. It's the self-custody, security, and ease of use. If that triangle does get solved, I think, we achieve one of the fundamental vision for Bitcoin, which is the people can always own their own assets on-chain.
Correct. And with ease, that's what you're talking about, right? With decentralization and with ease. So that's what you're looking at. With
the full ownership.
Right. Yeah. Full ownership. Yeah. Because we talked about it on the social login as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if that could be solved with full decentralization, then we
full
achieve
decentralization, full security, full ease of
full
use.
Things. Then we are at our dream.
Yeah, I think that would be a fantastic solid foundation, right? Like for anything else to build on top of it.
Perfect. And then, what do you feel about right now, Bali in environment and CoinFest? So, what's your thought about it?
Yeah, I think people are chill, right? And then sometimes in a chill environment, you get the best creativity, a lot of optimism as well, probably due to the market. At the same time, Asia in general is more optimistic than the rest part of the world. So
do you like the Asian market? Like, how big is it for you?
I want to make the Asian market a priority because we were originally a US company, so we have a lot more foundational base in the western part of the world. Asian users actually have different user preferences, UX, campaigns, purposes, finding opportunities. So it's definitely a growing market for us, one of the fastest growing market for us. And also it gives probably me the strongest sense of achievement because this might be the group of people that can benefit the most with our industry for growth and also for opportunity. And during the growth process, I think our Asian builders can also mature better and have much stronger footprints and longevity and legacy in our industry. That would be what makes me feel very proud of and excited about.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for accepting our invite over here.
Yeah.
I think
it was a fun chat.
just end it over here.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.